Tired of feeling tired? Done with diet culture? Overwhelmed by conflicting nutrition and fitness messages? Then join us, your hosts of the Nutrition Revolution podcast, as we take a deep dive into all things women's fitness and nutrition. I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Tabitha. And together we are debunking diet culture myths and giving you the tools you need to finally see the results you're looking for. Hey there, ladies. We are back again talking today about fat. So, Kimberly, what's the fat on fat?
Fat does not make you fat.
No,
Shocker.
It does not. Eating fat does not make you fat. Agreed.
Yeah. So I think that, this is one of those where I learned a lot about fat having autoimmune disorder.
Okay.
So one of the things that I learned over time is that my body needs fat to help reduce inflammation.
And I'll add, everybody needs fat to reduce inflammation. And yeah, okay. So
For sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I kind of incorporated. You change your diet and you learn things along the way and then you adjust it a little bit more. And so I was always the 6 almonds. That's all I'm allowed to have, right? Isn't that awful? So, again, changing the mindset of caloric food intake versus nutrient food intake. Okay. And so fats are one of those that I think we all need to shift our mindset into, because people are like, well, I can only eat 3 macadamia nuts and it's 200 calories or something.
Because fats are energy dense. There's nine calories per gram.
Yeah.
But they pack a powerful punch.
Right.
In those 9 calories. And they're very much needed. Yeah.
Yes.
So why do we need fat? What are some of the roles of dietary fat?
Right. So we need dietary fat because it literally helps line our cells. It keeps these cells so that they are, filling any gaps and making sure that they are a complete cell and they're not dying off. So we have to make sure that we're getting in fat to function day to day.
Yeah, you need it. Yeah, it's providing the structure of the cell membranes, and it ensures that your cells are functioning. So aside from the fats providing support for cell structure, also I think it's important for people to know that fats are required for certain vitamins known as our fat-soluble vitamins. So those are vitamins A, D, E, and K. Those are your fat-soluble vitamins, and dietary fat is required for the proper absorption of those vitamins into your cells. And so without eating sufficient amounts of dietary fat, your body will literally be unable to absorb these essential nutrients. And then you can end up with deficiencies in any of those vitamins. And that's something that you want to avoid as well.
And I think that when, we talk about those, so when you're eating those fats, you have your omega-3s and your omega-6s. And I think that a lot of these, sometimes the diets make omega-6s out to be you diets. Can't have omega-6s, right? They're
gotcha.
No.
Okay.
But I think that we need to balance our omega-3s and omega-6s, right?
Well,
we have to have both. There's room for both. So when we talk about, when I say I learned this stuff because of inflammation, a lot of these anti-inflammatory diets try to make it so that omega-6 are out. Not that they're out, but they're very rare to have them.
Yeah, the omega-3s and the omega-6s, you want to have balance. Ideally, So that's one of the things, the standard American diet right now is a 6-to-1 omega-6 to omega-3. And you really want it to be more of a 1-to-1, meaning for our listeners to understand that better. If you are eating 4 grams of omega-6 fats, you want to make sure that you're having 4 grams of omega-3. To balance that out essentially throughout the day. Now, that's a higher amount of fat. No, most people aren't probably getting that much, but you want to balance it where you have more 1-to-1 omega-3 to omega-6, because fats are also essential for brain health. Your brain is composed of about 60% of your brain is fats. And those essential fatty acids, the omega-3, omega-6s, are crucial for your brain function, development, and your cognitive health as well. So fats, not only are they a long-term energy source for the body, it's how our body stores energy in the form of fat, regulates inflammation, supports brain health, aids in nutrient absorption, and provides support for the structure of cells and the body's use of those cells. So those are some of the general reasons why you need fat, and you shouldn't cut it out of your diet at all, like by any means.
Right.
You know, low fat diets are not necessarily healthy diets.
Right.
I think is important to recognize.
Yeah, you don't have to have skim milk and low fat yogurt, and we want the fat.
Yeah, and I know I said this in our episode about carbs, but if you're like new to listening and haven't checked out that episode, in the 1970s, when the medical community came out and was saying that, you know, eating fat leads to weight gain and increases in cardiovascular disease, heart disease. So cut the fat. Manufacturers started taking fat out of all of our foods, and that was like the ushering in of that low fat craze. And instead they just poured in a whole bunch of sugar and refined carbohydrate, because fat, not only does it have all these amazing uses and needs in the body, but it also adds flavor to food and increases your satiety. So when you have a little bit of fat with your meals, you're going to feel fuller longer. It tastes good. It adds really great texture to baked goods, makes things like soft and just delicious. So they took the fat out, and then things don't taste as good. They poured in a bunch of sugar, and then we had that imbalance now where things are super low fat, very high refined carbohydrate, and guess what? Metabolic disorders galore for this
just
country.
Complete disaster.
Got worse. So we definitely want to make sure that we're not swinging that pendulum so far in any one direction, that it really comes down to just balance and moderation with all three of the macros. You need fat, you need carbs, you need protein.
Yeah, that's, I think, important when you're building your plate, making sure that you have, 20 to 35% of your plate being some sort of fat. But I think that also we, again, are going to talk about sourcing, because sourcing is important, the types of fats that you choose to have, right? So I know like some of these keto diets, even in the keto world, it's like, are you doing real keto or are you doing dirty keto? What's the difference?
Ooh,
like
what
there's
is the difference?
Oh yeah, like dirty keto, you can have bacon, but in like real keto, you can only have full fat dairy and avocados. So it's like,
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just learned something new about that. Huh.
Yeah, the dirty
Never
keto.
Heard of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know keto is like a very high fat diet, and that, I mean, from like the nutritional science standpoint, keto diets were created as a means to treat and control epilepsy. And then researchers found that like, when men are on these like super low carb, higher fat diets, they lose a bunch of weight.
Have less chance for heart attacks.
Yeah, they found, so then it kind of got, marketed, packaged up in a pretty little diet culture box.
And then all the women started doing keto,
masses.
and this created the issues with the gallbladder removals, where women are not able to process fats the same way that men can. And that's why we're having a lot of these women who have their gallbladders removed. And then they're trying to eat all these fats without a gallbladder, and it's just not working well.
And they're also having a lot of gut issues too, because they're not getting fiber.
Right.
And body composition concerns too, because they're not getting enough carb to fuel performance in women that are active. And the bottom line is it comes down to balance.
Right. It comes down to balance. And it also comes down to, that diet culture again of just because you see it in a magazine doesn't mean it's going to work for your body.
Right.
And you have to figure out how to eat in a balanced way.
That's the healthiest. So what kind of fats do we want to be eating and putting on our plate? There are two types. We have saturated fat and we have unsaturated fat.
The quick way that I look at this for the unsaturated, like talking to my clients. So if we have the saturated fats, when you're walking through the grocery store and you're like, I don't know the difference between a saturated fat and an unsaturated fat. Your unsaturated fat is going to be in a liquid form, and your saturated fat is going to be in a solid form until you heat it up.
What are some of the solid forms?
So we, butter, processed creams are more solids, and then
cheese.
Yeah, cheese, even coconut oil. You're going to buy it solid. It is a saturated fat, but we can kind of talk about like,
and then animal fats,
coconut oil,
with fat that's in that naturally
ghee, and
on a good steak,
right? Yeah. So those are your your solid forms versus like the liquid forms, which would be like your olive oils and even the avocado oil, canola oil. Those things are.
Yeah. Your unsaturated fats too are in nuts and seeds, fatty fish. as
Avocado.
well, like salmon, tuna, avocado, olives. Those are all, even though like obviously an avocado is solid,
Right.
but the fats that they contain, the fats in
It's not a
them,
processed fat.
yeah, it's your mono unsaturated fats, which are going to give you some of those omega-3s and omega-6s too. So the omega-3s and omega-6s are our essential fatty acids, meaning kind of like with the essential amino acids, your body can't produce them, so you have to get them from your diet. So on a daily basis, you need to be taking in fat sources, whether that looks like eating animal products, dairy products, nuts and seeds, fatty fish,
fattier cut of meat, a nice steak with some fat
even,
on it.
some whole grains like oats and brown rice and whole wheat. There are unsaturated fat in that as well. So that's just another perk of switching to whole grain foods, is that you not only get the fiber, the complex carb, but you do get a little bit of protein and you get some healthy
Right.
fats there.
It's amazing. Nature kind of created its own resources.
Perfect hybrid foods.
Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of people who are like, I can't eat fats, or like we've believed that those are kind of dangerous, but I think that it is really important for your body to eat those fats, and, for cell health and brain health and, your hormones, they all need those fats.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, the research shows that when you have more of the healthy fats, those unsaturated fats, that will lower your LDL, which is your low density lipoprotein cholesterol. So that's your bad cholesterol. It lowers your LDL and can raise your HDL. So healthier fats mean a healthier blood lipid profile and lower total cholesterol.
I was going to say, so when we talk about that, cholesterol, there's that myth of, cholesterol, any sort of cholesterol is bad. Your body needs cholesterol, because when a fat bonds to those free cholesterols that your liver makes, if it's used the right way, that cholesterol actually cleans up your body, where if it's used the wrong way, that's when it's building the plaque and things like that. So there's that idea that cholesterol is bad, but you actually need those fats to help with the free cholesterol to actually clean up your body. So it's essential fats. You need them. I know too, like, being in the autoimmune, eating to heal your body kind of world that I tend to hang out in, there is this big seed oil is the enemy. Like, we can't have any sort of canola oil or sunflower or safflower or, any of those kinds of oils, because they're bad for your body. I kind of want to address that a little bit, because there is some truth to that. The types of oils you pick are important. What you're cooking with, what snacks you're picking, and making sure that you're getting the fats that your body needs to, use it for the right reasons. And so when you're looking at highly processed oils like these vegetable oils or canola oils, we want to have less of them. Not everyone can live a life where you don't have them at all, but you want to try to choose foods that have less of those kinds of oils, and try to pick things like olive oil, avocado oil, even a ghee or a butter would be a better option.
Yeah. One of the things that I switched years ago when I first was learning about the difference in the fats and the oils, instead of putting like Pam spray.
Oh gosh, yes.
Or even butter, like when I'm doing eggs and stuff, you just use olive oil. I have like a little glass bottle that you can pour out of right next to my stove, and anytime that I need like an oil to heat up, I just go with olive oil, like even for scrambled eggs. And you really, like, there's no flavor difference, but it's a healthier fat profile. It's increasing the omega-3s that I'm taking in, that my family's taking in, and it was like a super easy switch.
Yeah. And I tend to use coconut oil for cooking.
Do you? Okay.
And then I use olive oil for like dressings and things.
Yeah. That's great too, to make your own.
Yeah. Especially like in the, like that Mediterranean diet where they use a lot of olive oil, a lot of fatty fish. Like that's supposed to be one of the best,
the healthiest,
you know.
If you look at the blue zones.
Right. That's what I was
around
going to
the
say.
world.
Yeah.
They usually adhere to more of a Mediterranean style diet, which is going to be just really rich in your unsaturated fats. So when I tried cooking with like the coconut oil, I feel like I can always taste it.
Can you?
A little bit, yeah. And I'm like, I actually love coconut. So it's not that I dislike the taste, but I don't like the tropical undertones of coconut in my scrambled eggs.
So I think it also depends on the brand too. So
Okay.
I am, you know, it depends on the brand. So if you buy some of these like cheaper, like I know Walmart has like big vats of coconut oil. So some of these cheaper coconut oil brands probably do have more of a flavor. I buy like organic coconut oil.
Yeah.
And
that's how I use that too, but I feel like maybe I'm just like more sensitive.
Listen,
to
you
other
just need to
people.
throw some Trader Joe's everything bagel seasoning on your eggs, and then it just makes it all better anyway.
I love the everything bagel seasoning. I'll have to try that.
Everything bagel seasoning on eggs
It does
is
make everything
literally
taste
my
great. I put it on my avocado toast.
Oh yeah.
So like I do my sourdough, which is like a whole grain sourdough, and I'll do half of an avocado smashed on it, and then I do eggs. And so like so much fiber, so much protein, and so much healthy fats. And then with the everything bagel seasoning. To that point, can we talk about eggs for a
I was
minute?
just going to say, okay, wait, because I love avocado toast, but it has to be like toasted avocado or toasted bread with my avocado, my everything bagel seasoning, and then scrambled eggs. The whole freaking egg.
I need the egg to be fried, please.
Yeah, fried.
I need it fried.
But not just egg whites.
No, not egg whites, the whole egg.
Yes.
You have to do the whole egg. Yeah. So a lot of people think, I see this with women all the time, clients, and I don't know, Kimberly, if you do as well, but where they're like, oh yeah, I eat eggs every day or regularly, but not the yolk. Like I do egg whites. First of all, it's expensive buying egg whites.
What are you doing with the yolk? Where are you putting it?
Well, and if you're not buying just egg whites and you're buying whole eggs, and then you're throwing away the yolk. You're
Unless
throwing away half
they store
the nutrition.
them and use them for something. I don't know.
I don't know, but okay, I would just like our listeners to know that 50% of the protein in an egg is in the yolk. Not to mention vitamin D,
Yeah.
choline, and unsaturated fats. So you're throwing away half of
The nutrients.
probably actually arguably more because of the addition of choline and vitamin D in the egg yolk and those healthy fats. So the egg white is great too, but that's mostly protein. Then you throw in the yolk, you're getting even more protein, half of the protein of the total egg, in fact. And then you're getting mineral like choline, you're getting vitamin D, and you're getting healthy fats. And remember, you need that healthy fat to help your body absorb the vitamin D. So you're tossing out half the nutrition and then also possibly wasting your money because then your eggs don't go as far. Like, eat the whole egg.
Eat the whole egg.
If you take nothing else away from this podcast episode, please just take away, eat the whole egg.
Eat the whole egg.
Yeah.
Unless you're a bodybuilder who needs a ridiculous amount of protein, but not as much fat. Or, you know, you have to there's a time and a place,
extreme,
but that is extreme.
situation.
Yeah.
Most of us are not.
If you're just a regular female
but even
who's
then,
just trying to make good choices.
If you're going to do bodybuilding, like, you still need some level of fat for like normal, healthy functioning. Like, I would say that's a good fat source.
Right.
Like, cut your fat out by instead
somewhere else.
Go like
less bacon.
Less bacon, more like super lean protein sources, just because of the addition of the other vitamin minerals.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to eat the whole egg.
Yeah,
I love eggs. I eat eggs very regularly.
What fats do we want to avoid?
So the fats that are combined with the sugar and the junky foods.
Yeah, your trans fats are going to be your unhealthy fats. You want to limit those.
Yeah, I think that when we're talking about avoiding foods, like you don't have to take all the foods off the table, right? We don't have to eliminate all of them. But when you're making choices on fats, you want to look for fats that are going to add nutrients to your body. So you want these unsaturated fats that can help you. when we're talking about eating foods that are going to have different kinds of fats. So if you go to like fast food, most of their fries and things are cooked in vegetable oil, which is basically just a whole bunch of like junk oils that your body doesn't need and have no nutrients in it. So I wouldn't really consider that like a healthier option for fat. And, you know, again, you can eat them if you want them, but that's not really adding to your nutritional value when it comes to that. So
yeah, being mindful.
Yeah, when we talk about
ratio.
needing fats, I think some of the best options are getting in avocados, like making a salad with some avocado and some nuts and some seeds. That is so
olive oil as the base of the
like that's so
dressing,
perfect for your body.
Lemon juice and salt and pepper, maybe a little balsamic vinegar.
Right. Yeah, you need that. And then you know, just looking at those whole food sources of fats. Like
I try weekly to have have shrimp or salmon or tuna, maybe tuna salad.
We do a
I'll
lot
make
of
up
salmon.
a batch tuna salad for lunches, or having salmon for those healthy fats and protein, eggs. And then I don't do super low fat dairy in our house. Like my kids either have whole milk or 2%.
Right.
I always do at least 2% yogurt, Greek yogurts. I will actually do the oikos, like the 000s. So that's zero fat, no added sugars, all of that.
Gotcha.
But
that's for your protein intake though.
That's
so you're
my
eating it for a
protein
different.
intake,
So I think
exactly.
I think when you look at the food, if you're doing it for, you're eating that yogurt for your protein intake, not necessarily your fat, but you're adding in probably some sort of seeds or nuts or granola that add it. So
granola, I throw in
peanut butter,
pumpkin seeds, nut butter. So I'm adding back in healthier fats. I mean, because dairy is predominantly it's a saturated fat.
Right.
So if you are someone that has less than favorable blood lipid panels, you're gonna want to watch the saturated fat, and that doesn't mean go for skim milk and zero fat everything. It means shift towards a healthier fat. And a more and a higher fiber, because fiber, interestingly enough, and I mean this is a little bit of a squirrel moment, but fiber will bind to excess fatty acids and cholesterols in the gastrointestinal tract and the bloodstream and help remove them through stool and through urination to help balance your blood lipid panel profile.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's one tool that you can use if you are someone that maybe has higher cholesterol or higher LDL, is increasing fiber and then making sure that you're mindful of your fat sources, trying to incorporate daily eggs, nuts and seeds, nut butters, avocados, switching from cooking everything in butter to maybe olive oil.
Yeah. Yeah. I think from a healthy standpoint, if you are just trying to overall get healthy, you need the macros. People, talk about macros, you need them. From a healthy standpoint, I would say reduce these saturated fats, add in the unsaturated fats, and don't be afraid to eat eggs and avocados and bacon if you want it. Make sure that you're eating those kinds of things to fuel your body.
Yeah. I have people ask me a lot about partially hydrogenated oils, your trans fats. So first of all, in 2018, the FDA began taking steps to eliminate so what is a trans fat? Trans fats are artificial fats. They're made through a manufacturing process that will convert the vegetable oil into a solid fat at room temperature. There are naturally occurring trans fats in some animal products, specifically dairy and meat products.
This is where the misinformation that steaks cause heart disease.
Right. So the trans fats that are the partially hydrogenated oils we do want to avoid. And in 2018, the FDA did pass regulations to begin moving those out of the American diet and food sources. And I think it was by 2024, all trans fats were supposed to be removed.
They have to at least be labeled and
packaged foods. That was, I have to fact check myself on that, but I'm pretty sure the date was when that legislation first got pushed out, was that by the year 2024 there wouldn't be any of the artificial trans fat or the man-made manufactured trans fats.
So those trans fats are completely stripped of any nutrients through the bubbling and processing and heating and then the added chemicals. So
and those having high amounts of trans fats in your diet
create
increase
plaque
your risk
in your
for heart
arteries
disease. So you definitely want to avoid that. But there is a difference, because I know some people have been like, oh, well, dairy products and meat has trans fat, but it's not the same as the partially hydrogenated oils.
Yeah.
So knowing the difference there and what to avoid. I mean, and again, in general, if you're eating more of a whole food, it's not going to be as processed. It's going to be better for you in general.
Yeah.
But you need some saturated fat in your diet. You need more unsaturated fat, and trying to limit the hydrogenated oils, those trans fats, as much as possible is, I think, a general good rule of thumb. It's a dietary fat.
I think eat some avocados and some nuts and some seeds, and drizzle olive oil on things.
Go for more
eat
whole
a nice
grains
fatty
too.
steak.
Yeah.
And then try to avoid those more saturated processed fats.
Yeah. So what's one of your healthy fat go-to meals?
Oh man. I mean, I love eggs and bacon.
Okay.
I love it with some avocado. That is like when I can start my day with that.
Okay.
I feel really good starting my day with protein and fats.
Eggs, bacon, and avocado.
Yeah. And I'm not a big bread person. So that's literally what I'll eat.
Toast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my favorite way to start the day.
Yeah. I love it. That's delicious.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. I have 2 for breakfast that are full of the healthy unsaturated fats. The one I do, my gluten-free sourdough with half an avocado, everything bagel seasoning, and then some fried eggs. I like that a lot. And then I like in my oatmeal, I like to add walnuts and chia seeds and hemp seeds and pumpkin seeds. So I'm getting lots of unsaturated healthy fats between the oats and all of those nuts and seeds that I throw in there. And I love just nut butter on a spoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for dinner, I mean, like I said, once a week, I try to do a salmon meal or shrimp or, make tuna salad through the week. I even buy those little, single pack tuna packs that are in, tuna in water.
Right.
You can just open it up and I'll eat that right
Yeah.
out of the pack.
Yeah.
Sometimes throw a little salt and pepper on it
Yeah.
and just call it good when I want a good amount of protein, but also something that has a healthier fat profile.
Yeah.
As well.
I think another thing that I do is I will freeze avocados, half an
I've never
avocado,
tried that.
and then toss it in my smoothie.
See, I freeze
Love it.
every other fruit and vegetable,
Yeah.
all my greens, my kale, spinach, everything.
Yeah. Have you done
freeze all that.
avocado?
I've never done frozen
So
avocado.
you got to peel it
Okay.
and then slice it, take the seed out, and then I lay them on a pan, flash freeze them, and then throw them in a bag.
That's
and it works out really well.
genius. I'm
Yeah.
going to have to try
And it
that.
makes so I will do recipe time. So half an avocado, frozen avocado with some cocoa powder and some honey, and you blend it all together and it's like a pudding. And then you can sprinkle some chocolate chips on top or some
Oh, that sounds
nuts.
really good.
Yeah,
I'll
I
have
love
to
it.
Try that.
Love it so much.
So you do it the frozen avocado.
Frozen avocado. It works really well with frozen avocado. It doesn't work so much with non-frozen avocado.
Okay.
I just like it colder, like a nice creamy cold.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you so what do you use as the liquid? Honey?
So I'll do honey, and then you can add a little bit of almond milk if you want it.
Almond milk.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just thinking of it in my blender. How is it going to blend?
yeah, a little bit of almond milk or whatever kind of milk you want. Full fat dairy milk. I can't have dairy, so
That sounds delicious.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so there's lots of easy ways to to get the amount of dietary fat that you need, and to if you are someone that currently is thinking oh my gosh, I have way more saturated fat in my diet, there's some simple switches you can make to just improve your fat profile.
Yeah, I think the key here is to be mindful. Look at your plate when you're building them and make sure you have in all of those nutrients. You got a fat, you have a protein, you have a carb.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to get it done. Build a healthy plate.
Yeah. So hopefully this episode on fats was helpful, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks for spending your time with us. If you found this podcast helpful, we would love for you to share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast platform. If you have nutrition or fitness questions you want answered on future episodes, we would love to hear from you. You can submit these questions to our email, thenutritionrevolutionpodcast@gmail.com. And follow us on Instagram at the Nutrition Revolution Podcast.